Hello. Hi. I suffer from a phenomenon called pareidolia. That's basically what happens when you see faces and things. A lot of people deal with this, actually. Some people will see faces in clouds, maybe like a flower. Others see them in random objects, sort of like when you look at the headlights on a car and you see the front grille, and it sort of looks like two eyes and a mechanical mouth. I suffer a little bit differently, though. I first noticed this when I had two friends over to spend the night. I had just turned 13 and we were all sleeping on couches in our family room. The family room was tied into the kitchen and it was an open concept, so you could see the fridge, the microwave, and all of that from the couches. One of my buddies pointed something out and he said, "Hey guys, do you see that? It looks like someone's in the kitchen." A lot of us, all of us began to whisper and freak out. I peered over the arm of the couch and saw a hideous old man. His mouth was agape with spiders crawling out of every orifice. At least until one of my friends got up and inspected it, only to find out that it was just a bundle of bananas. They all had a laugh about it and went to sleep. However, I couldn't stop thinking about it. Over time, I noticed this phenomenon a bit more frequently. It was never just seeing a cute dog in the clouds, or maybe a picture of Jesus in some burnt toast. My visions were always murderous and haunting in nature. You may see a flower in the sky, while I see a nuclear blast. You may see a funny monster face in the soap suds of your bathtub. Well, I see a gaping mouth just waiting to devour me. Anyways, it became hard to make friends growing up because of this. I slowly became terrified to leave home, opting to stay with my guard dog Snuffles while I worked from home. I'm an architect, which is actually the perfect job for someone terrified of literally everything. It was a Friday night. It was pitch black and rainy when I saw the face in the Candlewax. I lit my favorite candle, a peppermint-scented one with off-white eggnog-colored wax. I let it sit for a while as the beautiful smells left the glass encased around it, and I got to work on a design for a local coffee shop. My dog Snuffles slept on the couch. An hour went by and I saw the candle go out. It was getting kind of old, so I figured that the wick might be too short, but when I checked it, that wasn't the case. I relit the wick and saw a hideous face in the wax. It was that of a decomposing Buddha, warped and twisting in anger. I recoiled in disgust and nearly dropped my box of matches on the counter. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I counted, as my therapist told me to. Then I looked at it again, but it was still there. It's just candle wax. It's just candle wax. I told myself, it's nothing to worry about. Just let it go. But I couldn't shake it. I couldn't shake the feeling. An hour went by and the face was still there. I tried to focus on my work, but I just couldn't. The distraction was just too great. Snuffles didn't seem to care, though, until the power went out. When the power went out, I screamed and I kind of peed myself a little. It was a stormy night, so these things happened, but my mind kept going to the face in the wax. Was it doing this? I went to the garage to check the breaker box. I had my trusty flashlight on me, but the darkness of the garage still terrified me. I could have sworn something was behind me, but I didn't check. Instead, I flipped open the breaker box and found that the lights had been tripped. I breathed a sigh of relief, and with a single flick of the switch, the lights came blaring back on. Thank God. I thought all was well, but then I heard Snuffles barking from inside. I sprinted from the garage, jumping over tools that were left on the floor and workout equipment to find Snuffles barking at a broken window in the kitchen. I half expected there to be a brick with some menacing note on it from some serial killer waiting and watching outside, but no, just broken glass. The wind howled as rain pattered inside my home, and I looked at the candle. The face was still there. Could it have been? No, surely it was just the rain. So I grabbed duct tape and a trash bag, and I taped the bag around the window so that I could deal with it tomorrow. Snuffles kept barking, though, until he grew tired and went back to sleep. Normally when I have these episodes, the faces leave or they dissipate after a while, but I kept checking that candle over and over again, and the face was still there. It looked more and more decrepit and evil and vile. I turned the television set onto the news and turned up the sound to keep my mind off of it, and that barely helped. But an hour went by without incident, and I was halfway done with my project when I heard the television static. The news anchor started to warp in the screen as the antenna tried to keep signal until it finally failed and turned into a black and white screen. So much for that, I thought. I turned some music on my phone instead and left it on shuffle. Everything seemed fine for a moment, but then my phone lost signal too. I switched from Wi-Fi to data, still the same thing. Yet that face in the Candlewax was still there, haunting me. Suddenly, the bathroom toilet flushed, and my heart pounded. Well, it wasn't me, obviously. I was in the kitchen, but I was the only person home. Well, myself and Snuffles. It flushed again, this time a little bit weaker from the lack of water in the toilet bowl. Okay, that was enough. I grabbed a butter knife from the kitchen drawer to defend myself, and I went to check it out. Another flush. This time, no water was left in the bowl, so it just gurgled a little bit. I turned on the lights, but there was nothing. Just nothing. Was it truly happening? Was this really the man in the Candlewax? My mind teleported me to a time when I was a teenager. I was bullied quite often because honestly I was just terrified of everything. The local bully, Chet Wagner, was holding my face over a puddle of mud. "Eat the dirt, Bradley. Eat it, you nerd." No, I really don't want to. I really don't. I remember looking down into the mud and seeing the most hideous demonic face. It was horrid, gut-wrenching. I could see maggots worming their way around the sockets and hugging the face's tongue, and I wouldn't. I was actually so terrified that I threw Chet Wagner off of me and into the mud, and I sprinted away. Kind of funny that my fear actually saved me from eating mud. At that moment, I heard all the windows in the kitchen shatter, and it pulled me out of my memory trance. Sprinting towards the kitchen, I could see glass piles all over the tile floor, and rain battering onto the table where all my hard work lay. I ran to go save my diagrams that I had created, but when I saw the writing on my project, I almost threw up. It read, "I am inside." Inside? Where? Who? Why is this happening to me? It's the man in the Candlewax. He's the one doing this. I had to get Snuffles. I had to take him into the closet with me where we would be safe. I would call 911 and we would wait all this out. Running to the couch, I bent over the armrest and I saw Snuffles. Blood was everywhere. His fur was matted with this coppery red liquid. His head? I couldn't even find his head. Oh, no. Anger burned in me. The man in the Candlewax did this, and I knew it. Gathering my bearings, I staggered towards the peppermint candle and looked inside, but I didn't see the face anymore. I just saw the wax where it had lumped to look like some sort of face. I had just imagined everything this whole time. But no, the windows were still broken. And Snuffles was still dead, and there was a growling behind me. "I am inside," it said. Would I have been able to save Snuffles if I wasn't so worried about that candle? Would I have noticed sooner and been able to escape? I don't know. I made it into the closet. The thing is still out there. I don't know what to do. Please call help.